Hey, you guys, welcome to Alex and Andy Live. We are coming to you live from Shanghai, China, which is currently under a citywide lockdown. We're coming to you every evening, bringing you the latest news and views on the current situation. Alex, how's it going?
Not bad. Just another day. It was a bit of a shame that we couldn't enjoy the beautiful weather today. This is the nicest time of the year in Shanghai, weather-wise, and so we've had a really nice couple of days. It's a shame this couldn't happen during the dead of winter, but other than that, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I agree. But actually, I do quite like being inside during winter too. But it was a beautiful day today. It was a shame we couldn't get out and enjoy it. I had a good day, but in the beginning of lockdown, I don't know if you have this problem in your area, but there have been karaoke KTV sessions going on. At the start, I was like, this is kind of cute. This is kind of novel. Today, it was really, really grating on me. Have you had that in your area?
No, we haven't had a lot of noise going on. I think in our
Mm.
area, the average age is a bit higher than most complexes, as far as I understand it, or at least, I've lived in this complex for nearly 3 years. And so I've seen, a lot of my neighbors, and we don't have too many. I think the average age is pretty high. And so I don't know that they are really down for the KTV singing.
Well, actually, I find it interesting because I think the reason there's KTV going on here is because the average age is quite high. I don't
Oh,
think the young people do it, to be honest. But yeah, it's interesting.
really?
Hey, we better take a quick look at Shanghai Daily really quickly to check out the numbers before we come back to Alex, who's going to tell us about sorry, you guys, there's a new QR code you need to learn in order to
Yeah.
do citywide testing. But first, let's look at these numbers. Now, this 824 new symptomatic cases, that is nearly triple yesterday's number. Now, I'm not sure how we read into that, and more than 20,398 asymptomatic cases. Yeah, we'll analyze that. We'll come back and analyze that in a minute. But first, Alex, tell us about this new QR code.
Okay, so as we know, we've been using the Jian Kangyun or the Health Cloud app to find our QR code that we scan when we receive a PCR test. We need that code because it has our personal data and information in it, and then we scan it, and that way our test can be matched to us. That way, if we receive a negative test, then that'll come up on our record, and it'll show that we've tested and we've been tested negative. And then, of course,
Mm.
if the opposite is true, then you'll probably end up being sent to quarantine. But currently, the Shanghai government is instituting a change in the QR code. They're bringing it over to the same platform where your health code is. That would be the green code that you have all been using for since this pandemic began, entering
Mm.
buildings, entering facilities. You're all familiar with this. Anyone who has spent time in Shanghai since this pandemic began, we're all familiar with what the green QR health code is. And so now the PCR test code is being moved over onto the same platform as the health code. It's called Suishenban, but you can access it through Alipay. And it's the same screen that you get your green health code on. It'll be right down in the lower right-hand corner. And you can click on that and you'll get the code, which looks like this, what you're seeing on your screen. We have put together a very short video, kind of just walking you through it, but it's actually quite simple. I know that, and when I heard this news at first, I said, "Oh, another QR code," which I'm sure
Again,
all of us can echo that sentiment, let's say.
right.
But actually, it is pretty simple. And the other good thing about this one is that not only is it on the same page as your green health code, which actually you don't really need for much these days under lockdown, but you will later again.
Yeah.
And
Don't worry.
it's on the same page as that. And it lasts for 30 days. This means you don't have to re-enter your information each time you do it or every couple of days or anything like that. And so that is good.
Yeah, so I noticed before with the code, we had to register every time we were going to go down to do a test.
Right.
So you're saying now on the new system, we don't need to do that.
That is the plan. Yes, that's how I understand it. Of course, now I am in Puxi, as Andy and I have mentioned on the stream on the show before. He and I are both located in Puxi, which is the western area of the city. So this new QR code in Suishenban with your health green code is beginning now in Pudong. It began in Pudong today. In Puxi, we're still using the Health Cloud app today, tomorrow, and then on April the 9th, which is
Saturday?
April 9th is tomorrow. My mistake. April the 9th tomorrow. So for today, my mistake. Scratch that. April the 8th is today. So for today, it was still only in use in Pudong, but beginning tomorrow, for any PCR test that you do, regardless of whether you're in Pudong or in Puxi, you'll need to use this QR code. So I've made a very, very short video kind of walking you through it. Do we have it? Play it for everyone.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Click on your health code, which is the blue heart with the cross inside.
This is an Alipay.
Click accept or look it up. You'll see your health code. Hopefully it's green. In the bottom right corner, you'll see your PCR testing QR code. The orange button, click on that. And there it is.
Well, there it is,
Right.
blurred out, but yeah.
Yeah, no, right. But yeah, so it's actually quite simple. It's not, it is a bit of a, as soon as you hear, oh, another QR code, oh gosh, now what? But actually, it's pretty easy, and it's good because you won't have to re-enter your information again and again, and it'll be quicker and easier to access when you do need to have your next PCR test.
Exactly, and we will play that video again. It's very short. We'll play it again before we let you go this evening. We know it is a bit of a hassle, as Alex mentioned, that they keep changing these codes. But, this is unprecedented times, 25.6 million people who are needing to be tested. So obviously the systems are changing as we go along. Now, I'm just going to read a quick message we've got on our WeChat group. Someone says, actually, Ran says, apparently Alex is a cat person while Andy loves dogs. Now, I think maybe they've got our names mixed up, because if they look behind, I'll see cat. So I'm Andy. That's Alex over there. Alex, are you a cat or a dog person?
I'm a cat person as well. We're both cat people. Here, I'm back. I can prove it. Here we are. We're both cat people, I think. I don't have any dogs now. I love dogs as well. All right, go back to bed.
I do too.
Yeah, I love dogs as well. It's just that for me personally, I prefer bigger dogs to smaller dogs, and I find it difficult.
Not good in Shanghai.
Yeah, I don't live in a huge apartment. I know there are lots of people in Shanghai, including many friends of mine, who have large dogs, and that's fine and that's great. And I know that they're happy about it. But at the same time, for me, living in a relatively small apartment, I would rather have an animal that I don't need to take outside and needs space to run around. That's just my personal opinion. But hey, to each his or her own.
Exactly. No, I love both. Thanks for the comment. I am a cat and a dog person, but obviously, like you said, living in Shanghai in these small apartments, it's really tough to bring up a dog in Shanghai. So I think my opinion is for the best for the dog is to have, grass where they can go outside all the time. I can't offer that now. So I'll skip the dogs and stick with my cats. Now, let's go back to the...
I will say this really quick, Andy. Sorry to cut you off, but in my compound, which is really large and has a lot of buildings, there is some green space downstairs, and so there are a lot of dog owners here. I think a lot of dog owners choose to live in larger compounds that generally have more green public space to give their dog a little bit of space to run around in. So, but yeah,
that's nice. No, there's definitely spaces, and whether it's not in your compound, there are parks as well as dog parks all over Shanghai. So it's up to your personal preference. For me, I prefer not to have to look after every whim of an animal 24 hours a day. So that's my thing. Anyway, let's take a quick look at the numbers in Shanghai. We want to try and analyze these a little bit. The numbers, like I said before, 824 confirmed symptomatic cases, which is nearly triple the other day. Alex, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think, and we've seen this in the past, the vast majority of symptomatic cases came from either previously asymptomatic people or otherwise people that were quarantined. And so that's what we're seeing here. Now, we are seeing a small rise in the numbers. Actually, the overall number just across 21,000 when it was at 20,000 yesterday. So in terms of percentage-wise, you can see there on this bar graph here, it's not too much higher than what it was yesterday. But of course, as we've mentioned again and again, and as everyone I'm sure can agree, we want to see that number go down. We did see a slight dip there a few days ago, but we're seeing a steady climb, and we're hoping that we see the results of the lockdown on lag, given the fact that the normal period for this virus to test positive in someone is, I've seen it 5 to 7 days, and I'm not a medical scientist or a doctor or anything like that, but I have seen some reports to that end. And so I think hopefully in the next couple of days, hopefully crossing those fingers, we'll be able to start seeing a dip in cases, and then we'll take the next step when we get there.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, but I do have some good news. I did a little bit of analysis of the numbers. Now, 9 of Shanghai's 16 districts actually saw less cases yesterday than the day before. So that's positive. But again, the numbers are jumping up and down. So it's not necessarily a sign of, a movement, but it is good news. And also, even though the numbers are climbing, today's numbers, as compared to yesterday's, are up only around 6%, which is actually the lowest percentage based on the day before in quite a while. So there is some good news there, even though the numbers appear to be still climbing, they are slowing down as per my analysis. I'm not a mathematician, but that's what I've figured out. And we can see here, actually, Shanghai's 16 districts. I think we had, oh no, it wasn't this story. But you will see Pudong is actually, I think it's Shanghai's largest district, and it has representative numbers. 306 yesterday new symptomatic cases and 8,734 asymptomatic cases. So that is, I think, in line with the size of the area, but also I think the situation in Pudong is a little bit more serious than we're seeing over here in Puxi. If you take a look at my district, Jing'an, the numbers are actually not that scary. How about you, Alex?
Well, I technically live in Putuo, so we've got not a whole lot of cases. It looks like there are some more asymptomatic cases there, but here I should say. But yeah, it's true. Pudong is the largest singular district in the city, and I'm not totally sure on this, but I'm pretty sure it's also the most populous, and so it makes sense that it would have the highest numbers. But as Andy said, it's also true that Pudong is having the more serious problem right now in terms of battling COVID-19, and so yeah, that's why you see more infections and cases in Pudong rather than the other districts.
Right, and you can see an image there on the screen now with Shanghai's districts. Obviously that this area to, I don't know if you can see my mouse, to the right here is a blown up representation of this downtown area here, where Alex and I both live. But you can see Pudong new area there is over quite a large area. So yeah, there's obviously two reasons, as we said, why Pudong has higher numbers. We're hoping to see, obviously, for the whole city, those numbers coming down. But if we move over to this other story here, we can see other figures. There are over 130,000 COVID cases here in Shanghai recorded since March 3, which is, it sounds scary. Obviously, this is the first time Shanghai's been locked down since COVID hit the scene, late 2019, early 2020. And these are the highest numbers Shanghai has seen in that whole time. So scary times.
Yeah, it's true. Obviously, those numbers do pale in comparison when we look at a lot of other places around the world during their hardest hit times of the pandemic. Hopefully, we don't reach any numbers approaching those kind of numbers. But yeah, we have had 130,000 cases since the 1st of March, 1st of last month. Now, we do know that many people have beaten COVID themselves and have gotten and are now negative, and many people have been released back to do home quarantine. If you are released, you will have to do at least 7 days of home quarantine. After that, obviously, that's a moot point right now because everyone is under lockdown. But yes, I do know a few people that have tested positive. Actually, a small handful of friends of mine and people I know, obviously our colleague as well, who's now out. Thankfully, she tested negative. To get out, you test negative 2 times over a 48-hour period, and then you're sent home to stay at home. So I know that they are all of the people that I know are doing fine. No one, I don't believe any of the people I know are symptomatic, and so that's good. So yeah.
Right, now we can see a graph on the screen here with some data about ages. 16% of the total since March 3 are aged 60 years and over, 15% 18 years old and under, and the rest are 18 to 60. That's a huge age range, so that's why we're seeing such a large number.
I think that would be representative of the population at large. I mean, I'm not totally sure about the exact demographics in terms of age of the city, but I mean, it stands to reason that that's kind of what the demographics look like in general.
Right, and I do have some other interesting numbers here. Of course, we mentioned before Shanghai has 130,000 positive COVID cases since the outbreak on March 1. But it's interesting to note that some 96% of those are asymptomatic cases, and there is one patient currently in a serious condition. So we've talked about this before on the show. There seems to be a number of factors in reasoning behind most of the cases being asymptomatic. One of those is, of course, a vaccination, and one of those is Omicron, that this strain seems to be a whole lot less deadly. But I do have a bit of a scarier figure here. Sorry, you go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just going to say you're correct about that. It seems to be less deadly, but also more transmissible. And I think we've learned not just from what's happening here in Shanghai, but what's happened around the world since Omicron became the primary virus strain around the world, is that we've seen that kind of to be the case. Now, obviously, we don't want to see anybody get sick from it, which is why we are where we are right now. But if you do, don't fret. It's a little bit of a different situation than it was 2 years ago, when it was a more dangerous and deadly strain, when we didn't have a vaccine ready yet, when nobody really knew what was going on. So even if you do test positive, there's no need to freak out. Things are going to be fine. You should be okay. So.
Right, but having said that, I do have a little bit of this number is a surprise to me, actually. The number of Shanghai's new daily infections has actually exceeded its highest level during the COVID-19 outbreak in Wuhan in 2020 in central China's Hubei province. So if you remember that time, it was very scary. On the peak day in 2020, where they had the highest cases, China reported a total of 15,152. Now, as you've seen in Shanghai today alone, we've exceeded that number. So like we said yesterday, the numbers are, they're still going up, slowing down, but we are still in quite what's the word? A blah blah phase. Quite a pivotal phase. Yeah, yes. Sorry, my brain's got frozen. We're still in quite a pivotal phase here, and we need to, stay vigilant, keep at home, and keep doing what we can.
Right.
You're seeing some footage at the moment of Shanghai. I think it's taken either today or yesterday. Crucial phase. That's the word. Sorry. This is the situation in Shanghai now, like we mentioned before. A city of 25.6 million is currently under complete lockdown, and there have been problems with food delivery as well, and a couple of rumors which we will address shortly, especially to do with group buying. But first, actually, let's go take a look at that now.
Okay.
There have been, we want you guys to check out Shanghai Daily's official website, which is shine.cn. And Alex, you probably have seen a couple of these stories that were debunked today. Can you talk about any of these?
Yeah, well, we can look first. We can pick one. We can look at the city debunks rumor about suspension of group buying, first one on the left. And so I have seen, and I'm sure many of you have also seen, some rumors flying around on social media over the last couple of days, as per what might be happening over the next few days in the future, and then the next few weeks after that in terms of the city's lockdown status. And, of course, whenever I see something flying around on social media, when it's not verified by an official news source, you always have to take it with a grain of salt and be skeptical. But at the same time, when you see a rumor, you don't know if it's true or not, and exactly. So it's a cause for concern. And that's why, why they try to stop rumors before they get out of hand. One of the rumors is about the suspension of group buying, Tuan Go, right? So group buying is usually what it is when your neighborhood or your xiaoqu has people usually communicating via WeChat, obviously, or social media or whatever, and will buy things in bulk, usually food items in bulk, right? And then the supermarkets will deliver it, and then they can the volunteer workers or the health professionals will distribute it to people in the buildings. The rumor was that was going to be discontinued citywide as of, I think the rumor said tomorrow, but that's not the case. That has been officially debunked as false. And so you will still be able to take advantage of that. Obviously, it's more difficult if you live in a smaller neighborhood. Obviously, in my situation, it's quite difficult because they're only allowing us to do it in the same building. So that makes it a little harder. But in any case, group buying is one really good way, or at least for the most part, a way to alleviate any sort of food stress that you're having. If you're not in any of the groups or in any communication with your Juehui or the people that are running your building or your compound, make sure to try and get a hold of somebody, either via a neighbor or in some way. Maybe even ask, obviously keep social distance, but ask if you can someone when you're doing your PCR test or something, just to make sure that you can get in the know on that, right? And so anyway, point is, the rumor about the suspension of group buying is just that, a rumor, and it should be allowed to continue moving forward during this lockdown.
Right, and I think it's very important. This is the reason people were so scared today upon that rumor, is because it turns out it's very hard to buy food as an individual at the moment online,
Mhm.
which is our only way of buying food. So people, the only way to do so is through this group buying. We have a message in our WeChat right now from Graham who says, some foreigners I know are living on virtually no food, cereal only. So this is a huge problem.
Yeah.
The logistics issues that we heard were being ironed out yesterday don't appear to have been ironed out to a satisfactory degree at all. So there's still a lot of people who can't get access to food, and it's a real problem. So as Alex said, really one of the only ways to do so is to do this group buying in with your community, which
Yeah.
is often or usually done in WeChat groups, like Alex said. I just joined my communities group today, and there's a whole lot of information there, and also volunteers willing to help you do your purchasing and get in on the orders. So that is currently one of the only ways to order food in Shanghai. We hope to see this situation sorted out ASAP with the logistics, because the fact of the matter is there is enough food to go around. It's just there's no adequate logistics in place right now to deliver to this international city of Shanghai. I think at the moment the situation is obviously quite unacceptable. So we hope to see some action shortly, or ASAP, or yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, and I thankfully, and I'm thankful for it, got a small delivery of vegetables to my door from my community today. But I don't live alone, and so it's not going to be enough to last for a long time. So it isn't enough.
Mm.
And I'm finding, even for myself right now, that the food is going out faster than it's coming in. And so
Right.
hopefully, and that's definitely the case for most people. And so we're hoping that with the news that we talked about yesterday, with different warehouses and food distribution centers in the city coming out of lockdown, hopefully
Right.
that can be alleviated as soon as possible.
Exactly. It's a must. The situation currently is, I think, completely unacceptable. So we do hope to see some changes very soon. Now, here is another rumor that was going around, that Shanghai may be soon under martial law. There were photos of PLA officers arriving at Hongqiao railway station. Those images appear to be real, but they are not on the way here to put the city under martial law. A lot of them are medical officials, and that rumor has been debunked. Here we see the stamp.
And the stamp
So
says,
that is jada jada. So obviously things are changing fast at the moment. Oh, how do I say this? This is debunked for the time being.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so it's been refuted that. Basically, what it said was that starting tomorrow, all deliveries would be stopped. There would be nobody going in and out, and that we would be locked down until May the 1st, period, no matter what. And then the city would not be. As per this rumor, it said the city would not be opened completely until May 18th at the earliest. And that had me and a lot of other people. When I first saw it, I said, I don't know if I believe that. But at the same time, I also kind of started, a little bit. And so I was happy to see and hear that this was refuted by the authorities. And they're saying that at this time, there are no plans to do any such thing. So that's good.
Yeah. It's important to note because things change so fast. And I'm not saying at all that the city will be under martial law. But I remember before when there were rumors going around that Shanghai would be locked down. That was also disputed at the time because it wasn't a fact at the time. The city was not planning to be locked down, so it was considered a rumor, even though things changed after that. So keep in mind that this is a fast-moving situation. That story is debunked, but who knows? Who knows what will happen in the future? Obviously, we're hoping nothing like that ever has to happen, but yeah, you never know.
Yeah, and
okay.
The picture from Hongqiao railway station, if you've seen it, of the PLA army, the military members. I think, as far as we understand it, that those people are medics and they're coming here for medical help. So we hope that that's the case, and that they're not, just for medical help and volunteer help and just helping out with the situation here in Shanghai in general, and no martial law or anything like that. And then we were told that that's not the case, and we hope that that's not the case.
Right. Now, someone just in WeChat has Ben just asked, how can we differentiate between, I guess he's asking about between rumor or truth. The fact of the matter is, even for us, it's quite hard in this situation. So we do work hard to figure out and ascertain whether these stories are real or not. And then we will post them, as you can see here, to our website, shine.cn. So probably the best thing you could do if you see a rumor spreading around and you're not sure if it's true or not, head along here to shine.cn, and we do update these stories here quite regularly, and hopefully that'll be of help to you.
Yeah, it's different. It's difficult. Like I said, when I saw that rumor, I thought, yeah, this is probably fake. This is probably just a rumor. But then again, you're never really sure until you get the official word. And so, yeah, I think just take everything with a grain of salt until you see it from an official source. But at the same time, on the other side of that coin, make sure that you're doing enough preparation so that you're prepared as best you can be for anything that can happen. And that goes with food. Try and get as much food as you can. Water, anything for your pets, as we were talking about over the last few days, ways to make sure that your pets are properly cared of, the different supplies you may need, things like that. And just try to be as prepared as possible so that regardless of what happens, you are in the best possible shape you could be in.
Exactly. Definitely very important to be prepared. And one of the things we all need to be prepared for during this lockdown is how to look after ourselves mentally. Obviously, mental health is a huge issue, especially for some people who, don't deal so well with being alone. I myself quite enjoy it, but I know that's not the norm. So we have a special guest now, which is Shanghai Daily reporter Liu Shaolin, who's going to talk to us about looking after our mental health. Can you hear us? Hello, Liu Shaolin. Hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
Okay, I'll remove that. I think she can't hear us. We'll get someone to work on that. But for the time being, let's take a quick look at her column on shine.cn, which is all about dealing with stress during lockdown.
So go ahead, Eddie. I'm sorry. You first.
You go.
No, I was just going to talk about the column a little bit. She interviewed a doctor specializing in mental health and asked him a series of important, poignant questions about what to do during lockdown, how to deal with it, how to keep your anxiety in check, and if you do feel that you might have some sort of serious issue, what to do about it.
Right, it's very important. Obviously, a lot of people are having trouble coping. If we've all got time, you can go along to shine.cn and listen to her podcast. She does a regular podcast on mental health. This one's 38 minutes long. Obviously, as Alex just said, she interviewed this doctor, Dr. Chen Jianhua, who is obviously a specialist in mental health, and of course, pertinent questions that we have here during lockdown that a lot of us can benefit from. Let's see if she can hear us now. Hello, can you hear us? Hello.
Can you hear us? Oh, we must be having some trouble with our audio here.
Yeah, sorry about that, you guys. What we'll do is we'll take a look at some of these questions and read some out, I guess.
Yeah, we can kind of it a little bit.
Yeah. She asked the doctor, with the stay-at-home policy, anxiety is in the air. One of our common worries is how to successfully order fresh produce. Now, that's an important one, how to deal with that.
Yeah, the doctor basically said that there are a lot of different issues and there are a lot of different things that are going to cause worry right now, from things like fresh produce, but also, if you've taken a financial hit in terms of your income, or if you're a business owner or things like that. I know that we've got a lot of people who fall into those categories. And just other pressures, your children's school, I don't have to list them out for you. You guys know the kind of things that can put a lot of pressure and anxiety on people. Right. And so he's kind of just saying is to accept the situation. Don't stay in a state of denial and just sort of accept it, get through it. Try to, he says, to sing a song, do something like that. Talk to your friends and family, talk to somebody about it is kind of his point. And don't keep it all inside and let it eat you up, because we're all under a lot of stress and pressure. And so he's basically saying, don't be ashamed of it. Some people like to keep their emotions inside and things like that, but it's okay to talk to somebody and kind of relieve the pressure if you need to do that.
Right, and here's an important number actually for Shanghai Mental Health Hotline. You can call 962-525. That's 962-525. And there are 300 professionals working 24 hours around the clock during this lockdown period. So if you need any help and you can't get in touch with anyone else, please do call that number, 962-525. Now, Lynn is back again. Lynn, can you hear us?
Guys. Yeah, I can hear
you. Yay. How's it going? We're about to now.
Yeah, sorry about the technical problem. Sorry.
No worries. Now, Lynn, we all know that lockdown is a very stressful time for everyone. So what advice does the doctor have for people who are maybe beginning to feel a little bit stressed and a bit of pressure in their daily lives today?
Yes. So I did this talk with Mr. Chen Jianhua, and he's the therapist and the associate chief physician at the mental health center, and he said that the very first step is to acknowledge and accept the emotions, and avoid, being carried away by the emotions. And if it's not handled properly, somebody will blame themselves for being vulnerable, and others will just suppress those negative ideas, which will eventually lead to more issues.
Right.
Yeah. And you have to observe and assess the situation. And if you feel unpleasant, for just once or twice, you don't have to worry too much. You can go talk to a friend or family for help and share your feelings. Because if you talk, you will find that the problem you worry about is quite common, because everybody, I think, in lockdown will worry about their PCR test results, will worry about how to successfully secure the food supplies, and even being so eager to go out because we've all been kept indoors for so many days. So if you talk to people, you will find that, it's quite common, and you will not feel that you're the only one to be abnormal. And you can also, he said, you can also sing a song, or if you got this stress balls, you can go grab and try to squeeze a little bit. And even you can just, cry, let those tears out. Just don't be embarrassed by your emotions. And
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah. So if you try everything and it still doesn't work, you better. He suggests that you better seek professional help, as you mentioned before. That Shanghai got this professional hotline, and it's run by the mental health center, and it got 300 professionals that offering help for 24 hours.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I think it's definitely true that people by and large. I know Andy said maybe he doesn't mind being at home alone sometimes, and I think it's okay. But I think people, we by our nature are social creatures, and I think not having the opportunity to interact with our friends, or being able to do it via video can be a bit stressful. I think that's definitely the case. So yeah, definitely. So yeah, you I was going to ask you what are some activities that people could do, but you kind of named them off. So sing a song, maybe exercise, stuff like that.
Yeah. So Lynn, can you just share with us that phone number one more time, that people can call if they need some help from professionals in Shanghai?
Right. It's 962525.
962525. Okay.
Yeah.
962525. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lynn. And hopefully we will catch up with you again during the lockdown, and hope you're doing well.
Yeah, you too. Stay safe.
All right, you too. Thanks
Bye-bye.
so much.
Bye.
Oh, we fixed the technical issues in the end. That was good.
Good.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I think this is a really important point, is mental health. Obviously, people are worried first about eating. That's natural, but also you've really got to look after yourself mentally. And I do quite like the idea of singing, which I do in the shower every morning. So I do apologize to my neighbors. What do you do, Alex, if you're trying to reduce stress under lockdown?
Yes, during the lockdown, I kind of, I find idle tasks to do. As I mentioned before, I'm a pretty avid darts player, and so I'll throw darts, dartboard, and so I do that. I'll play some games on my phone. I did write a story a couple weeks ago about some different fun or interesting apps that you could do. I try to bury my mind into something, be it work, be it trying to sharpen my Chinese skills, be it trying to learn something else, watching a documentary. Just for me, it's something that can sort of engage my mind to where I'm no longer thinking about the other pressures. Not as escapism per se, although it is, I guess, that to a certain extent, but just to kind of take your mind off it, give your mind a break to where you're not stressing about it, and then kind of go back to trying to deal with whatever problems that you can deal with in this situation, because there are issues going on right now that you may not be able to deal with. You might be a little bit helpless to deal with those things, and it's important to not dwell on that 24/7, but also just find some happy things to do.
right? And I think that's one of the key factors that Lynn was mentioning, is there are a lot of problems that we're facing now under lockdown that are out of our control. So a lot of people have trouble dealing with that. It's only human nature. And another thing Lynn said is don't feel ashamed if you, or don't feel weak if you feel you can't cope or you need to cry. Just do it. I think crying, even for guys, is a very healthy and a very normal thing to do. So don't hold back. I just want to read some messages because we were talking about activities you can do. This is in our WeChat. PM said you can talk to your cat.
Yes.
Pat Rogers said you can count out cooking as an activity. And Ben added that he used to like staying at home, but not anymore. And also Elise said she would try to focus on something that she can manage. So those are some good ideas to do during
maybe
lockdown.
kind of take baby steps, solve little problems. I know that in our house today, and it's still, I'm not going to show you because it's a mess, but we did a little bit of spring cleaning today, just putting away the winter clothes, getting out the summer clothes, finding some things that we just to throw out or get rid of, taking some clothes to donate. And I'm not sure if we can actually do that now, but setting them aside so when lockdown ends, we can donate those clothes. I know that that's a good thing I like to do whenever I have clothes that I don't wear anymore, or that I like to donate them as opposed to just chucking them out in the bin and stuff like that. Just something you can manage, cleaning the house, things like that. And then you'll feel a sense of accomplishment for having finished that task. And then it kind of it's a bit of a stress relief in that sense.
It's a really good idea, actually, Alex. My wardrobe was filled with clothes I never wear anymore. So actually, it'd be quite a good idea to sort those out and do some donations in the weeks ahead. Now, I want to talk about a 15-year-old violin student. Actually, I don't know if we'd call her a student. I guess she's going to be, who we had on our concert a few days ago. We had a live concert with people who are currently under quarantine here in Shanghai. And she is literally inside a central quarantine facility because she came to Shanghai to take part in a music exam with her violin and ended up catching COVID, unfortunately. So she's in the facility now. And today, quite a unique situation. She took part in that music exam on her violin today via video call to the school she came down to hopefully get into here in Shanghai. So let's take a look at that video. And when we come back, we'll have a chat.
Okay.
Wow, bravo. That was a 15-year-old who came from, she's called Liu Xuanling. She came to Shanghai from Zhejiang province to do the entrance exam for the Shanghai Conservatory of Music. Now, she came with two other family members, including her grandparents, and they were all infected by COVID-19. So they were sent to that makeshift hospital in Jing'an. So she had to do her entrance exam in quarantine. So we wish her the best of luck. But by the sounds of that performance, I think she'll do well. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. Obviously, it was interrupted a little bit by some walkie-talkies in the background, but I think that she got her musical message across with that performance, and we wish her the best of luck for sure. You know, it's really a rough situation coming from having to quarantine when you're not even from here. You don't even live here, so it's a tough situation. So I wish her the best. She can be released and hopefully go home as soon as possible, and then obviously hopefully come back later on to attend the Shanghai Conservatory of Music. So best of luck to her.
Right. I want to leave her story with a really nice line she told our reporter today. She said, Shanghai is a warm city. The haziness of COVID-19 will sure be dispelled and life will go on. Stay positive, she said. So really, really touching words there from her. And we wish her, obviously, the very best of luck. Let's just quickly switch to a live view of Shanghai, which we've shown you every night. It hasn't changed much. There is not much traffic happening. Well, pretty much none at all. Alex, are you still looking forward to getting out down to the Bund?
Absolutely. Like I was saying earlier, the Bund is one of the top tourist destinations, not only in Shanghai, but in all of China. You know, but it's a place that when you've lived here for many years, as I have, as Andy and I both have, it's not a place that, at least for me, that I travel very often. You know, maybe my first year here, I went there from time to time just to check it out. It was new, it was interesting, but it's still interesting for sure. It's just not a place that I frequent. And now that I'm locked inside and I'm looking at pictures and images of all of these places, I'm reminded of all the different fun and interesting things there are to do in this city. And I think that when we are released from lockdown, I'm going to have sort of a renewed vigor and passion to get out there and explore the city, places that maybe I've never been, places that maybe I haven't been in quite some time. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, they say, you know, everything's there's black and there's white. And to enjoy life, you need to go through the tough times as well. So, yeah, like you said, Alex, it's going to be extra special when we get to go out and head to these places that we may not have really even thought much of before, but it will have a renewed kind of light to it. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Obviously, sooner rather than later, so that it's not 35 degrees when we get to do it. But hey,
no, you're right. I really, it's nearly summer.
Yeah.
Okay, that sucks. Hopefully, we get out pretty soon. Now, the numbers really quickly again for today, you probably already know, but yesterday there were 824 confirmed symptomatic cases, 20,398 confirmed asymptomatic cases. Those numbers are higher than before, but like I said, they are slowing down. I think there was a 6% increase on the cases from yesterday, which is the lowest increase day by day that we've seen in a little while. And also 9 of Shanghai's 16 districts saw lower cases than the day before. So that's something to keep us going. We're looking at some video now of PCR testing, obviously, because there's people outside. We're not allowed outside unless it's for that. Did you do PCR today, Alex?
No. So actually, I did one yesterday, and right as we began to talk to our colleague about the mental health thing, I don't know, some of you noticed that I was sort of shouting. Somebody came and knocked on my door, and I cut my mic off because I didn't want to disturb the interview. But so it turns out that it was somebody from our neighborhood committee dropping off antigen tests, and they are going to come pick them up. Yeah, they're going to come pick them up tomorrow morning just to check the results. So we'll need to do another self-test, the antigen test, and then we will leave them outside our door in the little baggies tomorrow morning for examination. Hopefully,
that's good news. That means one bar. That means, like we said the other day, that there's been no cases in your building, which is good. Yeah. Obviously, there are 2 types of tests: the PCR test, which is the mouth swab or the nasal swab, and the antigen test, which is what you do at home. Now, if you in your area in Shanghai took the PCR test, it means that there was probably a case in your area recently. If you did the antigen test, it means that there wasn't. But when you look at it from, a higher area, that doesn't mean much because we're all still under lockdown. But yeah, hopefully we'll be out of this very shortly. I'll just read some quick messages in our WeChat group who were watching the performance there from the 15-year-old violinist. Somebody said they were impressed that she wasn't affected by the sudden noise from the loudspeaker. That's true. If you can imagine somebody taking an exam to get into a respected music school, you'd be quite nervous. And normally under the normal exam situation, you probably be in quite a quiet room. So she really dealt with it well. And somebody else said that the background noise really added to the reality. So yeah, really touching moments there.
For sure, and like you said, I think it would be easy to be easily distracted, given how nerve-wracking this sort of exam situation would be, much less being in quarantine and all of that. So let's hope that I'm no expert in music, so I can't grade her performance, but it sounds great to me, and let's hope that it works out for her.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Now, we were talking before about food deliveries. We have a video that I actually shot out my window 2 or 3 days ago of some free government supplied food bags that were delivered to our community. A little bit of a cute moment there. So let's play that video now and let you guys. Little bit of a cute moment there. So people are obviously quite pleased to see the food arrive. But yeah, even though it's a nice moment, it is still not ideal that people are feeling reliant on these free food deliveries. So as I said before, I hope Shanghai speeds up and fixes the logistical problems we're experiencing now in the 21st century Shanghai massive metropolis. In 2022, this kind of situation, even under COVID-19, is really not ideal. So let's hope we get some movement on that soon. And I hope we can order some new food. And what are you looking forward to eating, Alex?
Well, I won't even get into that yet. I'm gonna stay in the lockdown mindset. Okay. So I was able to a few days ago. I don't know if any of you remember the rap video, the Shanghainese rap video, Chang Tai. I don't know how to say it in Chinese. But what that means is that he's referring to the practice of getting online on the apps for the different supermarkets, be it Ding Dong or Jingdong or Meituan or whatever it may be. There's a whole bunch of them. And waiting until the actual time that it opens. And sometimes it's 6 o'clock, some of them are 8, 8:30, different ones at different times. But usually the food is completely snatched up within the first 30 to 60 seconds. And so you've got to sit there and mash the button on the app like this. And it's a bit frustrating. So a couple of days ago, I was able to get some foodstuffs, but those have run out. And I still have some food. I'm not starving yet, but I wasn't able to get any last night. All the things that I was looking forward to getting, couldn't get any of them. So, I think maybe the rumors that we were expressing and sort of dispelling earlier, maybe led to people wanting to get more things. Maybe it kind of amped up the fervor in terms of that. I don't know. But good luck if anyone's out there that is doing that. Yeah, best of luck with that.
Right, and if you've got any problems ordering food, obviously we all do, but if you are really at the end of your tether, really you should contact your Juweihui, your community.
Yes.
When a volunteer comes to your door, maybe if you don't speak Mandarin or Shanghainese, I'm sure that they'll be able to help you out with some translation apps or something like that.
Yeah.
Do speak to somebody ASAP because, obviously going hungry is not something anyone wants to see. So they will do something to help you out. So do keep that in mind, even though the situation is not ideal.
Yeah, make sure. I know if you don't speak Chinese and if you don't have someone in your house that speaks Chinese to a sort of a functional level, that's fine. I mean, obviously, nothing to be ashamed of. But what you need to do is, at the very least, make sure if you're really in a dire or difficult situation, use your phone, use an app. There are plenty of translation apps out there. They're not going to get you through a 30-minute conversation, but that's not the goal here, right? Definitely it can help you get your message across if you're in a tough situation. And again, if you are in a tough situation, just try and stay calm. We'll get through it as a city together, and stay strong mentally and physically, and don't hesitate to ask for help.
Exactly, and I'll mention that number really quickly again. If you're needing some mental health support, you can call this number. It is the Shanghai Mental Health Center, on 962525. That is 962525. And that is operating 24 hours a day. So yeah, if you really need some kind of help, do call that number. Now, I do want to play one more video before we let you go, which is speaking of mental health. Yeah, it's discussed a little bit in this video. Have a look, and then we'll come back and say goodbye.
我再讲我就哭了。我希望你回去反抗，知道吧？因为我们的医生太缺了，但是我不敢做主。你现在只要你能承诺，能够确确实实反抗，那我就放你出去，写个承诺书。就是没有人，我们整个小区一共来了300家，我们4、5千人，我也住在崩溃的边缘啊！我不管了。 你既然是医务工作者，为了上前线，你就去。
我就住医院吧。
你住医院，你的家里面怎么照顾？为什么让你反抗？就是因为我想让你出去了之后，再给家里带点东西回来。不然的话都没有机会买东西。
好的，好的。
可以把楼里面其他的也买个东西，是不是的？
抖音。
So yeah, you guys, it's really important to look after yourselves. A lot of people are under pressure. We feel you. Do call that number if you need help, 962525, and we will aim to come back tomorrow with all the more information for you and more breaking news. Alex, I'll see you then.
All right, see you tomorrow. Everybody else, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in.